and welcome to VOP Business Show. I'm Kayla Abraham. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) has commended the waiver of the 7.5% value-added tax VAT on automotive gas oil, commonly called diesel, by the federal government, but questioned the rationale behind the 6-month time frame set for the waiver. The Director General of MAN, Segun Ajayi Kadir, noted that manufacturers have always advocated for the removal of VAT on diesel, which had become a key input in production process owing to unreliable power supply. He noted that it was part of the rapprochement that MAN and the other members of the Organized Private Sector of Nigeria (OPSN) have sought. He also stated that MAN also had called on the government and Labour to use their best endeavors to find common ground and avoiding plunging the economy into a serious crisis. Meanwhile, it is said that diesel is used to fuel about 90% of the haulage trucks that transport petrol from the depot to retail outlets nationwide. So, removing VAT will help reduce the cost as a production input and cost of transportation for logistics and movement of people generally. But the period of 6 months is too short for them. Now, oil marketers on Monday have stated that the cost of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, was still over 1,000 naira per litre, despite the announcement of the federal government that it had removed value-added tax on the commodity. It was gathered that the cost of diesel was still between 990 naira and 1,100 naira per litre on Monday, though many filling stations lacked the product as they blamed this on the high price of diesel. The Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria (IPMAN), Mohammed Shuaibu, stated that they await the implementation. Reacting to the directive after the federal government met with the leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress on the Independence Day, Chairman Satellite Depot of IPMAN, Akin Rinade, also mentioned that prices of diesel will still not reduce until a new directive was issued from the regulator of the downstream sector, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, to the effect. The federal government is set to equip 3 million Nigerians with tech skills over the next 4 years. It set a plan to help startups raise their yearly funding rounds to $5 billion by 2027 and improve access in rural areas by at least 40%. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, on Monday disclosed this while outlining his plan for the ministry. The minister highlighted that in today's global technology landscape, innovation, entrepreneurship, and access to capital were critical components of a strong digital economy. He stated that the primary objective of the ministry on this would be to stimulate the growth and sustainability of startups with a specific focus on those developing innovative solutions for critical sectors of the economy. Describing how the ministry would measure if its plan were working, he added there's an increased capital raised by Nigerian tech startups 50% year-on-year from $1 billion per year in 2022 to $5 billion per year in 2027. According to the minister, equipping talent with knowledge that can influence the generation of innovations and technologies that drive economic growth, expand the talent pool to drive competitiveness, improve productivity, and inform evidence-based policy making is crucial. Now, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company has called for a rethink in the current practice of pricing domestically produced natural gas in foreign currency. It's frowned at the selling of domestic gas in dollars. NDPHC's Managing Director Chiedu Ugbo disclosed this at the Energy Summit as he explained that the recent unification of the exchange rate had led to a hike in the cost of gas used to run power plants. According to the NDPHC boss, electricity producers need gas to fire their power plants. However, finding a reasonable means to supply gas for domestic consumption, it was learned that the international oil companies have gas, but they are unwilling to reserve gas for the domestic market. He noted that he understands their position about the illiquidity of the domestic market, but there is a need for a good handshake between the gas regulator and electricity regulator to harmonize interest. Now, the price of 12.5 kg of liquefied natural gas or cooking gas has increased to 12,500 naira as Nigeria celebrates her 63rd independence anniversary. The president of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Olatubosun Oladapo, warned that the price of 12.5 kg cooking gas could hit as high as 18,000 naira by December if the federal government did not checkmate the activities of the terminal owners. However, despite the warning, Olatubosun on Monday stated that the government was yet to wade into the crisis. According to him, gas retailers still buy 20 metric tons of gas for 14 million naira at the depot. According to him, terminal owners were hiding under the guise of high foreign exchange of increased price and further increase the suffering of the masses. The International Monetary Fund has disclosed that Nigeria and other emerging economies will need about $2 trillion annually by 2030 to achieve the transition to net zero emissions by 2050. The global lender stated this in a new report titled Emerging Economies Need Much More Private Financing for Climate Transition. According to the report, achieving the transition to net zero emissions by 2050 requires substantial climate mitigation, investment in emerging markets and developing economies, which currently emits around 2/3 of greenhouse gases. The report also stated that the growth in public investment, however, will be limited and that the private sector will therefore need to make a major contribution toward the large climate investment needs for emerging markets and developing economies. The private sector will need to supply about 80% of the required investment, and this share rises to 90% when China is excluded, as shown in an analytical chapter of the latest Global Financial Stability Report. Now, Delta Airlines has announced the rescheduling of its daily Lagos to Atlanta flight over the relocation of airline operators to the new international terminal at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, had in September directed all airlines to relocate from the airport by October 1, 2023. However, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria relocated some international airlines to the new terminal, which was opened in March 2022. It was revealed that check-in would commence by 7 a.m. and end 2 hours before departure. The relocation of foreign airlines had resulted in flight disruptions after baggage belt failures at the new terminal of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, which forced airlines to delay and cancel flights. Passengers also spent hours in queue to check in and pass through security checks. The naira on Tuesday gained 0.79% over the dollar as the foreign exchange resumed after the independence holiday. The market opened with the dollar trading at 1,000 naira on Tuesday as against 1,008 naira on Friday at the parallel market. At the investors and exporters forex window, naira appreciated by 2.59% as the dollar was quoted at 755.27 naira on Friday compared to 775.31 naira quoted on Thursday last week, data from the FMDQ showed. The naira appreciation was attributed to a moderation in demand for the greenback as the market awaits the next policy action of Olayemi Cardoso, the new Central Bank of Nigeria governor. He stated that his immediate priority will be to work out ways to aggressively offset huge foreign exchange obligations as part of measures to attack the current naira downturn, which has become a huge burden for the economy. And that's all on VOP Business Show on VOP TV. We would like you to subscribe and engage us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms at VOP TV Live. I'm Kayla Abraham.